What's up, everyone? OJ here. Just enjoying my new Labo VR headset. No, I'm actually not enjoying it at all. We're going to talk about Microsoft and Phil Spencer and what he had to say recently with VR. That's kind of pissing some people off in terms of things. We're going to break down everything that he had to say, or at least the important part of what he had to say, some of the counter arguments to it, and what's going down, because VR is one of those hot button type of somewhat controversial topics in gaming. A lot of people don't invest into VR headsets. A lot of people push VR as if it's the greatest thing ever. We just had that new announcement of the Half-Life game coming out for VR, and everyone's saying, oh, this is like the system seller, this is the VR seller. But then there's different types of VR headsets. It's not going to be on every single thing. It's going to be on Oculus and stuff. So it's all over the place with VR. But let's go ahead and talk about what Phil Spencer had to say here first. And Phil Spencer recently had this to say on VR in general. He says that, quote, "I have some issues with VR. It's isolating, and I think of games as a communal kind of together experience. We're responding to what our customers are asking for, and nobody's asking for VR." And that already set some people off, because there probably are some Xbox owners out there that are saying, hey, I want VR. I want it, and it's probably not like a large population of people, because here's what I'll say, guys. And I'll make sure that I state this right now at this point. I'm not a believer of VR. I don't like VR at all. I don't like this Labo VR. This is the crappiest VR, but I don't like this VR at all. And I've tried multiple VR experiences from PlayStation VR. I've tried a little bit of the Oculus VR. I've tried various forms. I've tried the Samsung Galaxy VR, and none of them have ever really struck me in a way that says, like, I need this. This is something that I need for video games. It's still too basic, in my opinion. You're still strapping something to your head. It's still something that I don't want to have on. It's not something that I like. It's not a communal experience. It's not something that you can experience together a lot. It's something that you play kind of isolated, and then you can experience it with other people online. But if somebody comes over, they're not going to be able to just automatically just go into your world and see what you see. They can maybe see it on the TV if you're having it on the TV there with your PlayStation. But if you're not on certain things, it's just not going to work that way for a lot of people, since you're seeing it right there on that screen. But VR, to me, like I said, is a bit clunky. It's a bit something to where I don't think that many people are into it. Now, another thing that I want to note here is that back in 2015, Microsoft did say that they're going to be like partnering. I know there was like an Xbox One controller that you could use with VR or something like that, but nothing ever materialized from that. Nothing ever materialized. Some people took that as some type of promise to get an actual VR headset and a bunch of support for the Xbox, but I don't remember that ever happening in terms of him saying that, Phil Spencer and all that. So I don't know what's going on there. But overall, I think that VR to me is still just in the basic forms. And if you look at it, I mean, I've seen other people say too, shout outs to everyone on Twitter, I've seen people say it's like, okay, well, maybe they don't want to push type of unnecessary products on people, right? Because if you look at it, remember Kinect, guys? That was supposed to be like the next big thing with the cameras and sensing stuff and all that. And that was way more communal than VR is, because everyone that's in like the picture can dance with you and certain stuff and be the camera or be within the camera's range. So to me, it's trying to not have some type of Kinect situation or situation to where they're forcing some type of tech down people. Because if you look at it, Sony's invested a lot of resources and a lot of time into VR, and that's fine. They can do that. They're having some success, but how big of a success is it? I think they have the most popular VR headset. Not sure if they've sold more than like 10 million VR headsets. I think they've sold like a couple million or 3 million or something like that in multiple years of being on the market. And then we also have CD Projekt Red coming out and saying, like, you know what? Hey, they're not worried about Half-Life because VR is a very tiny, tiny, tiny part of the market. Like, it really is just a very tiny part. And so CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk, they're not worried about that because it's just tiny. It's just a really small part of the market. We have MPD analyst Matt Piscatella. He's been saying like VR is just like a gimmick. We're not seeing the sales. It's not happening. So there's many people out there that think that VR just isn't there, and the numbers aren't there for VR. People keep pushing it because it's a market that's untapped, right? We don't know where this can go, so you're going to see people continue to invest in it. You're going to see Valve, you're going to see Oculus, you're going to see Facebook, whatever the case is. You're going to see Sony continue because they feel that they can push that and drive new profits to their business. So I don't have a problem with that. But if Phil Spencer doesn't want to dedicate a lot of time, money, resources, and games and all of that into VR, I have no issue with that because VR has not proven itself. It's not proven itself. Heck, I tried this Labo VR, you know what I'm saying? I tried this. This is not good either. This is not a great experience in my opinion. And it's obviously worse than like the Oculus and worse than like other VR headsets out there. But if you're gonna do VR, you kind of just go in with one toe in, man. You don't put that whole foot or both feet in. I would just go in very slowly. We don't know what's happening with HoloLens. Microsoft had that. We haven't seen anything about that for a while, but that's maybe more for businesses and things like that. So I think that Microsoft is really just refocusing on what they need to do. And what they need to do is make sure that they have enough first-party games and first-party content to make their customers happy. That's what we need from Microsoft. We don't need VR headsets. We don't need all of that type of stuff or anything. I don't need to be looking around and doing all sorts of weird VR stuff. What we basically need from them is to make great games and a great system with the next Xbox, because they stumbled out of the gate with the Xbox One. That's obviously clear. They did not have enough first-party studios ready. They did not have enough first-party games ready. Their first-party games were not high quality enough in terms of what they released. Like Rise, that wasn't really first-party, but that was first-party published. They were not publishing enough high-quality games in order to get customers to buy the Xbox One, and that's what they're focusing on. They're focusing on their first-party development studios. They've got big ones now. They've got Obsidian, they've got Ninja Theory, they've got a lot of studios that can make great games, and that's what they need to focus on, and that's what they need to do. Whereas Sony, they've already got a lot of great first-party studios. They've already got God of War and Uncharted and The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima and Infamous. They've got a bunch of really cool first-party IPs. They can kind of branch off and focus on other things in order to improve their business. Microsoft, they need to focus on getting back to the games because the games took a dip. We didn't see Fable this whole generation. This was bad for Microsoft first party. This is the worst that it's ever been. And I'm somebody who's always purchased every single Microsoft system since day one when it comes to their consoles. The Xbox, Xbox 360, and also Xbox One. This is the worst one in their third gen. That should not be happening. So I completely understand where Phil Spencer is coming from on this one. So what are you guys' thoughts on this? Remember, this is not an attack on VR from my perspective or anything like that. It really isn't. Like, if you like VR, you think it's great, that's cool. Continue playing VR, continue having fun, continue doing what you need to do in your VR space. That's absolutely cool. I just think as of right now, at this point, it's just not big enough for them to have a big investment. Even if it's just not even a big investment, but just an investment at all. Invest in those first party studios, invest in getting your games ready, invest in making sure that Xbox One launches with a good lineup, get Halo Infinite ready, get all of that ready instead of focusing on VR headsets that barely anybody is buying and focusing money, time, and effort on getting VR support. It's just not liked enough by many gamers out there. And if Phil Spencer can really turn the tide with this next Xbox, right, and get certain games, he's working on the Japanese support. You saw the Kingdom Hearts, you saw the Final Fantasy stuff, you saw the Yakuza stuff. That's what he needs to be working on, because money's going into that, by the way. Those flights over there to get these games on Game Pass or certain stuff, that's obviously money being spent. So that's where his time, energy, money, and the focus is being spent on actual games that people can play normally without an expensive headset. Because if you want a good quality headset, because the PSVR is not anywhere near as good as the other VR headsets on the market, and that's the most affordable. And people say, well, that one's not too great. So it is what it is, man. What do you guys think? I don't like wires and stuff and all that. I guess there's some of them that are wireless, but the price and the amount of games and the investment and the fact that other people can't kind of join into the action right there with you is just why I'm just like a no-go on VR. And that's why I'm not going to be playing the new Half-Life game, or at least I'm not going to be buying a VR headset for it. But if I can come across somebody else having it, that's cool. And I think that's how you experience VR the best, is when somebody else has it and then you can just play it at their place. So what are you guys' thoughts on this? Are you guys down for VR? What do you guys think about what Phil Spencer had to say here? Remember, guys, link for the full article in the description below. Let me know what you guys think. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Make sure you like, share the video, drop a comment below, and subscribe to the new OJX channel. I do appreciate all of you guys supporting, and we will see you guys for the next one. Peace.